Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back, or welcome to episode 2 of Indie. Please add details. My name's Keegan, one half Love 2 Gamers, hanging out with Tom, the other half Love 2 Gamers. I love swinging my arm at you, Tom. How you doing today?
Does it make you feel like a game show
It's
host?
just like, and Tom, come on down. You're on Level 2 Gamers.
I'm grand. I'm doing all right.
You're grand?
Yeah, I'm nice and relaxed today.
One might say you're $1 grand.
A day off. Yeah, one might say I'm 1K. Yeah.
Watch our podcast on Friday, and we will talk a little bit about that. But those of you who are new or who are maybe returning, Indie Please Add Details is our weekly dip into the world of indie games and indie development, where we discuss the news and our indie excursions throughout the week. You can join us in a discussion at the end of this episode, either by following us on Twitter at Level2GamersSTL, or go to YouTube at Level2Gamers.com. Check us out there.
We'll be there.
Or you can comment and all that kind of stuff.
We'll be there all the time.
We will be.
Forever.
Or email us. Hell, send me an email at Keegan at Level2Gamers.com or Tom. We'll probably respond. There you go.
Don't use our other one, because our other one is terrible.
Welcome to the second level at gmail.com,
Yeah,
which is the one I
it.
think on the website.
I made it and I regret it quite.
It's real. That's why.
Afterwards.
That's why we did. That's why I wanted to
short
make
ones.
those short ones, because like this is too much.
I mean,
especially
I
with
could
some
remake
developers.
it, but right now it's like kind of established. So it's almost punishment for people that want to actually email us.
So,
though.
fun
It's like, you
fact,
gotta really
in
wanna
my
email
phone
us.
and on my computer, when I go to email welcome to second level at gmail.com, I type in WL and it just autofills because I'm too lazy to type this out.
Pro tip: if you need to email us, make a shortcut.
But we mentioned that the Gamescom's potentially going on. There's things that are happening. One of the things that came out of Gamescom is going to be detail number 1, and that is PUBG, otherwise known as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I'm embarrassed to tell you how long it took me to figure that acronym out, because I kept seeing it everywhere, like PUBG this, PUBG that. I thought it was just some weird like Twitch meme joke or something.
No.
I didn't realize.
That shows you how many people play this game.
Yeah.
I think they released numbers. I can't remember what they were now, but it was some insane amount, like 300,000 players playing at one time.
Yeah.
On an early access game.
Ish.
But
service,
the news is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds will be published, or they will work closely and make the relationship closer with Microsoft. So it's being published by Microsoft on the Xbox, which means probably 100% no PlayStation version. What are your thoughts on this? Have you followed them at all? Really, I've followed them closely because I love this game. I'm excited for it to come to Xbox.
I haven't watched enough of it to know what I'm missing, but all I know is the premise, and I've seen a little bit of gameplay.
It's like do you know DayZ?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, where it's King of the Hill.
The community's a little better, from what I understand.
Yeah.
DayZ, they'll just fuck you over to fuck you over. But
I mean, there's some of those still, but
yeah, I mean, it's it's something that I've paid, honestly, not as much attention to that you have. I definitely know enough about it to hold a conversation about it. But I mean, obviously, I'm gutted as a PlayStation fan. We do have an Xbox, so we can play it if we need to for the channel or whatever.
I was kind of surprised, to be honest, because everything, I think it's Bluehole, I think is the name of the company. It's either Bluehole or Click Blue. I think it's Bluehole, because I make the butthole joke every time I see the logo. They kept saying they're being very, at E3 it was announced that it's going to be a console launch exclusive, and they're very much, every statement after that was kind of like, we're not going to talk about it. We want to be on every platform.
Still pretty vague, though. Like, even, I mean, they've obviously come out more now and said it's going to be exclusive, but I still don't know if it's necessarily like definitely a 100% exclusive.
If Microsoft is publishing it,
yeah.
The only thing is if they're only publishing it on Xbox, which I don't think that would happen if they're publishing, because they're sending them a lot more money. So that's the other thing.
I mean, the thing is, though, like, I guess as a way and a means to draw people to your console, it's perfect. It's literally the best game they could have chosen to do that.
We argue about Xbox
time,
exclusives. This would be a perfect exclusive for them.
But, yeah, absolutely. But this is also leaving a lot of money on the table, because even Microsoft knows they can make a lot of money out of like allowing PlayStation to have it. So it's an age-old battle of, is it worth us keeping it exclusive? How quickly are players going to get bored of the routine of the game, versus would it make more sense to allow other consoles to have it and just make bank off?
I don't think Microsoft cares, because they're publishing on PC then. as well.
Yeah.
And the PC audience is trumps, as we've talked before, easily trumps both the PC or PS4 and Xbox audience.
True, but it's already been on the PC, so it's not new money.
No.
You know what I mean? It was already there. So
it's early access, but if they do the final version, it'll be interesting to see how much this game sells in final version.
Yeah.
Because obviously the thing with early access games, you get an influx of cash early on.
Like there's so many early access games that just never go out of early access.
Subnautica's finally about to leave it, or it has just left it. I can't remember if they have just left it or if they're about to leave it, but that's one that's like been a year and a half.
It's a weird saturation issue, though, isn't it? Because like you have these games that are early access and people have been playing.
I mean, Stranded Deep is still early access.
Exactly.
2 years.
We've been playing that for 2 years, and
it was the first thing on our channel.
It's a case of when you finally come out and say, "All right, it's the full game ready to go." Who's going to care by that point? Because they've already had their fill of it.
Well, that's like Ark. Like Ark, I played for I think 200-ish hours when it came out, and they're like, "Hey, this is coming out of early access here soon." I'm like, "I already played it." Granted, there's a DLC. But I don't want to play it because it's Scorched Earth, and I heard it's a pain in the ass. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Is I've already put 200 hours before the game's even come out, and I'm like, do I really want to play it again?
Yeah.
The advantage I had there was it was a private server, so it was a lot more fun.
Well, that's the other side of it, isn't it? Is if it's a game like Theseus, right? So we got an early copy of Theseus. It wasn't early. It wasn't alpha. It was like just a demo. So when you have these companies making demos as opposed to like alpha releases,
well, it was a final release of Theseus. There was a review copy.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's other ones that we've gotten. That's a bad example.
I was gonna say that wasn't a demo. But like, ones but like the long reach or
we recently got that one.
The Misfits is an alpha.
The Misfits is an alpha, but I
think pre-alpha technically.
I think the network settings come into it a lot because a lot of these games that are getting the alpha treatment are literally just kind of learning or dealing with how to do servers. So there's a sense of like they have to do it because how are they going to test that if they just release it flat like Friday did? Even though Friday had its fair share of betas and stuff, you know, but they were closed betas.
So fun thing about Friday the 13th that I found out, this is a complete tangent of this, but Friday the 13th, you know how they determined how many servers they had? It was based on pre-orders and people playing the beta. You know what people didn't do? Play the beta and pre-order.
Yeah.
So that's funny because there's so many. Greg Miller from Kinda Funny is a big Friday 13th guy. He loves the game to death. And one of the things he's always been dead set against is don't pre-order a game, which I'm kind of mixed on. If it's a game we've talked about it before, but it's a game you know you're going to love. Like for me, Division 2, if they ever announce that, I will pre-order that. But other than that, if it's a new IP, if it's something I don't know, I probably won't, at least now. I did last year.
I only pre-order things on the basis that we need them for the show as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I don't pre-order anything for myself.
Yeah. So it's funny because Greg then a couple weeks ago had talked to one of the guys from Friday the 13th, the studio, and he's like, yeah, I kind of fucked you guys over with that one because it told people not to pre-order, but that's how you make your servers. And
yeah. So, I mean, and as well, though, they should have kind of known that the amount of pre-orders that you get is nowhere near the amount.
Well, no, you take the amount of pre-orders, but then you adjust it up.
Because they didn't advertise it enough for it to only have been noticed.
But it's also one of those word of mouth games. That's like PlayerUnknown. Like that. Yeah. This is definitely a word of this is. Streamers have pushed this like nobody's business, and the same thing with I'm trying to think of the other one that blew up a few years ago. I mean, DayZ did it, Rust did it. There's a few of these games Minecraft is a perfect example of word of mouth. But there's these games that like don't really have. Minecraft was an alpha when it released, or when
it's an alpha for a long time.
Yeah. And these games don't have this advertisement, partially because they're indie games. They can't afford to do it. But then word of mouth explodes. You're like, oh fuck, especially an online game.
You weren't ready for this.
Yeah, especially online games. A single player, you don't have to worry about it as much.
So yeah, I mean, I have likes and dislikes about the idea of an early alpha. Obviously, I want to get my hands on a game as soon as possible if it looks interesting. And some early alphas are really like.
I really want you to play. Close. I really want you to play PlayerUnknown because there's two different.
I won't be able to anymore.
Well, you can. We have an Xbox.
That's true.
You'll play it.
I'll have to borrow the
play
Xbox,
it. I'm gonna play Tuba Monkey. We've been talking about playing this for a while. So this is like, again, if I didn't buy an Xbox, this would be a game that would make me buy an Xbox, which is what Xbox needs right now. They announced the Xbox One X.
I can't be mad about it.
Pre-orders have happened at Gamescom. They announced those going on and have already sold out the Project Scorpio edition pretty much everywhere. Our buddy Adam got one and he's super excited. Yeah, that's the most powerful console ever created. They said that multiple times. Another fun thing while we're talking about Gamescom stuff, one of the things I thought was really interesting with the Xbox is I watched the Xbox, I wouldn't want to call it press conference, their show.
Keynote.
No, it wasn't. There was two people on the couch talking. and then bring people in. So I thought it was going to be a keynote, and it wasn't. My favorite thing was they talked about Zoo Tycoon coming in 4K, and I was like, ooh.
Do you have a 4K TV?
No, but Zoo Tycoon in 4K was not what I was looking forward to during that announcement. There's a few other things, like Record's getting a definitive edition. It's coming to Games Pass. That kind of stuff's kind of cool.
I don't remember Recode being like...
Recore?
Is it Recore? Sorry. I don't remember Recore being that much of a hit on release.
No, it was supposed to be, but that's why it's coming to Game Pass. That way more people will play it, the base will build up, that kind of thing.
I think the only significant news as far as that conference went
was release date of the Xbox One X.
Was that
that's what everybody was waiting for, and that's why they held us to the end.
Battleground thing. You know, but games wise, the player unknown Battleground thing, because everything else was just like, we have a nicer version of a game that no one plays. Yay.
Yeah, they're adding stuff, and
I get what they're trying to do, but the stuff that they need to be doing is exactly what they did with PUBG. PUBG, is that the official term?
PUBG.
But yeah, I mean, it is frustrating as a PlayStation gamer that wants to play that game, but I understand it. You know, this is the way the game is played. We got Persona. I love Persona.
You got Destiny exclusive content. Like,
yeah, you know, like there's games
this
that
happens,
and this is just part of the game. And if anything, it's more likely to make me want to pick one up later. The only difficult part about that is that being a server-based game, by the time I get around to picking up a console for that, there's not going to be a whole lot going on with it.
I would be interested to see what the cycle is. Like I said, right now I think they have over 300,000.
Yeah, but that, I mean, like, again, like, I'm
PC.
pretty sure, like, if we look at, like, Friday, right? Like, Friday was just smashing servers left, right, and center. Everyone was streaming it. It was just huge.
And now it's kind of leveled off.
And now it's leveled off because it's an online-only game, and there's only so many times. Now, this one, you know, admittedly, does have a really unique hook to it that makes it.
And you've got more modes coming, new maps coming. So they've said they've got a lot
of life cycle left in it. But
they also push. It's coming out by the end of 2017, which is interesting because the initial thought was it's going to come out 2018. So I wonder if Microsoft pushed money in and gave them resources, not just money resources, but people, to get it out the door quicker for holiday season, because that would make total sense to have this. You get your Xbox One X or Xbox One S.
Anything about developers, so they just talked about publishing. So I mean, maybe they just brought in some extra, maybe paid for extra. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Maybe they were able to bring in people to help out. Yeah. So what do you guys think of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, or PUBG as it's called, being an Xbox exclusive? I really don't care. Like you said, we have an Xbox, so we're in a lucky class that have both. But if I didn't have one, I would be upset, or this would make me buy one. Yeah. Especially now with the Xbox One S dropping to, I think it's $250. I can't remember. I think it's $250.
Not a bad deal.
Or launch Xbox One, you can still get out there for relatively cheap, which is what we got. We got the Special Forces Edition one though. So moving on to detail number 2, which is our game discussion. our game discussion. You played a game that was actually a port.
I did
from PC.
It's a game
that came to PlayStation. I think
it's on, play for a long time.
Is it on Xbox? I think it's on Xbox as well.
It's already on Xbox.
I'm going to fact check that.
I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think we're one of the only places to get a physical copy of it available, which I don't think has come out yet. But I know that we got the digital early, and then the physical was supposed to come after. It's like a special, and it's like a super special edition as well.
This game has been like.
It's another big one, isn't it?
It's another one of those word-of-mouth games.
I played a lot of the smaller titles this week because we've been doing these indie podcasts, so I often find time to sit down. I played like Shadow Warrior for the first time ever, and I loved that. I played the Bard's Tale Remastered, and I loved that, although I don't know if that's technically considered an indie anymore. I played Observer, and I love that. But this one was one that...
It's also cross-buy. Little fun fact, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on the Vita too if you get it. But if I came downstairs this morning and I had a couple hours to kill before, you came over, and I find myself looking at the 3 indie games that I started recently, and I was like, which one do I want to play right now? And just purely because of the jovial nature of this game and how much of a good mood it put me in when I was playing through for the gameplay footage, I picked Undertale to play through some more, and it's incredible, really, because we've seen it being played before. When Jordan was back on the show, he was a big fan of that game. He had the PC version or Mac version, one of the two, and he played that on the show. And it looked interesting then. Like, it was kind of a bit comical and a bit weird and a bit quirky. Not necessarily everyone's
It's like an NES game.
Yeah. It wasn't necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but, you know, I thought it was quirky enough that I would pick it up if I ever had the chance. And now I had the chance.
So I have a response to your physical versus digital thing.
Go again.
Gee, I can't just go into the store and get the game and buy Undertale? Billy, no, it's digital. You have to download it on PSN. It won't be in stores. However, Fangamer will be producing physical versions and collector's edition in September. So if you really want a physical version, you could be able to buy that on fangamer.com. So I don't know if it's an official thing.
They did this with Rez too,
or an unofficial thing.
It was weird. Yeah, they have one random company that makes a physical copy of it, and then they become like gold dust.
Yeah.
To buy them.
And it looks like it's the PC version as well. So it's not just PlayStation. So
there is a physical version on the way, but as of right now, it's just the digital version.
About a month away.
It's wonderful. It really is. It's for those of you that don't know anything about Undertale, it's a very quaint story. It's basically a story about how humans and monsters used to fight, and then the monsters lost. So they ended up getting sort of relegated to the underground, which is just kind of like, I mean, it's not really hell, but you get hell vibes. No, it's not. No. Every player is known there, and they're just like, they're not too bad. The monsters, most of them are just, you know, living their lives, and they're not like being mean or anything specifically, but occasionally humans wander into this accidental hole and fall in, and then they end up in this monster underground. And it's a tale of the under, you see. So so basically you start off the game there as just like, okay, I fell down a big hole, now I'm in like monster world or hell or whatever it's supposed to represent, and you have to make your way out. But the cast of characters and the stupid battles that you have and everything just make it so charming.
And the fact that, so one of the things that kind of made this game stand out when it first launched was how many different ways you could play it. You could do a true pacifist run where you kill nothing. You could murder everybody if you wanted to. You could do a combination of both.
I've been doing a combination. I did plan on a pacifist run at first, but then I got to a point where like I couldn't figure out how to get this guy to just like leave me alone, and everything I did, it wasn't letting me do it. So I just wasn't figuring out the correct order in which to pacify him. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna kill you. So I just, and it happens in most stealth games.
If you don't pacify Tom, he will murder you.
It happens in every stealth game I play where I start off with the best intentions and then something goes sideways. I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm murdering everything. But I've been okay with it. I've only like murdered a couple people. Most people I've set free, especially the doggos. The doggos.
I don't know nothing about, like, I know, wasn't Mother, what's the rabbit dog looking thing, like the icon that you see all the time with it? Can't think of what her name is.
It's just, I don't know. Yeah, there's a random doggo in there that's literally called Doggo that follows you around a little bit. But I
will show you what I'm talking about.
There's the skeletons are probably the most famous ones. There's a sunflower that just like fucks with you all the time. At the beginning, the sunflower is the first thing you meet, and it's talking to you, and it's going like,
that one.
Oh, thank you
that lady.
Oh, that's Toriel.
There we go.
Yeah, she's like
she's on everything when it comes to advertising.
Yeah, she helps you at the beginning of the game, and then I won't
leaves you alone.
Do spoilers, but something happens.
She gets you impregnated.
I did flirt with her. I did try flirting with her.
How'd it go? She reject you?
After I called her a mother,
bitch?
Which was weird. Yeah, it was like those are the options. It was like,
it's like
you could cell phone call her, and you could be like, you could talk to her, call her mother, and then she'd be like, oh, you think I'm your mother? That's so adorable. Blah blah blah. And then like the next option, the only one that it wouldn't let me select yet was flirt. So I was like, fuck it. So I pressed flirt. I was like, they don't comment on the fact that you just called her mother and now you're flirting with her.
Well, maybe that's like a girl when she calls her person daddy. It's weird to me, but you know.
And you can see the size difference is quite unique.
Heyo.
But yeah, it's yeah. But it's such a joyful game. It's so jovial. There's so many little jokes and everything in there.
It's a perfect.
It's so weird.
It's a perfect modern game with a nostalgic feel, and I find that quite. Like I said, I've not played it, but I've watched plenty of people play it, friends, YouTubers, whatever it may be, and it's quite interesting because it's like when I first saw it, I was like, because I didn't grow up on the NES era. And I don't like going back to NES-style games because I think they look dated unless it's a game I grew up with and have nostalgia strings for. But
nostalgia strings?
Nostalgia strings, yeah, where it pulls you in.
We should trademark that.
Yeah, nostalgia strings.
I think you just made that.
It's like silly string, but it's nostalgic.
It's like happy strings and sad strings, nostalgia strings.
Yeah. But no, I usually tend to avoid those type of games because I'm just like, they look old. And I don't care for that.
You don't like the pixel art. So.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the pixel, which is funny considering ours is pixelated. Yeah. But no, I don't play games like that because I'm like, hey, you look a bit weird. But
I think the charm would get you. I think the charm would get you.
Yeah, and I think it would. And I think the gameplay is really, really well done. Like, we were talking before
the puzzles are great.
We were talking before we started recording, and it's going to be one of our topics, but kind of what draws you into an indie game. And this is a prime example of doing some cool shit that would draw you in.
I think a lot of indies slack on the dialogue because it's a big part. I don't know if it's just because the developers don't hire a writer or whatever it is, or they're just not good at talking, or they think that everything should be like, hey, Mr. Man, I'm gonna beat you up. Okay, Mr. Man.
Hey, I'm gonna be a sexy voice number one.
Yeah, so and they just hire shitty voice actors and stuff. So Undertale didn't have to hire voice actors. It's all just in like beep boop language.
Beep boop.
Yeah, like beep boop boop boop.
Is it R2? They hired R2.
They hired R2D2. Voice actor. But the it's so goofy, and all the jokes are like just so charming. Like everything about that game, I think charming is the best word I can use for that.
Well, if somebody who has not seen and or heard and or played Undertale, what are you guys doing? What games would you compare it to?
It's a really difficult question to answer because it has certain elements of games like old school, like Link to the Past Zelda, in terms of it's screen by screen. So you move to a different screen, you observe the environment, you solve the puzzle, you move on. Or there's monsters. But yeah, because you mix in these monsters, but they are hidden. So it's like the old school Final Fantasies where you just walk for a couple steps and then you're in a battle all of a sudden.
It's kind of like Pokemon.
But the battles are so fucking bizarre because they're not like necessarily
attack, defend.
Like, attack, defend, or haste or whatever. It's
Header.
Like there's a box and your heart goes into the box, which is your soul, and basically you have choices of how you want to interact with the enemy. So you could and it depends on the enemy as well. So if it's like a doggo, if I go into act instead of fight, then it will give me options to like pet doggo or compliment doggo and like this kind of stuff. And the idea is that like if you pet him, eventually he's just like okay, and then you can spare him because it gives you the option to spare or mercy. So you can like beat someone to shit and then offer them mercy, or you can spare them and you just win the fight because you're like, okay, they don't really want to fight anymore anyway. Because nothing really wants to fight you there, really, and that's the whole thing. But the actual battle part of it, like if they do an attack on you in this small box, your heart has to dodge the attack, and the attack is usually like it's like a small bullet hell game, like a mini bullet hell game, where they just have sometimes it's stupid pictures and stuff that are jumping at you, but most of the time it's just like little white dots or whatever, and you're just trying to avoid your heart being hit by any of their attacks. You do have the option to, like I said, just attack people as well, which is just like a timed thing where like a line moves back and forth. You have to stop it at the exact moment, and that's how powerful your attack is, like a golf swing. So yeah, I mean, but it's so, like I said, it's not, you don't play it necessarily for that stuff. You play it more for the charm of it. But yeah, like Link to the Past, Zelda mixed with like really old school Final Fantasies, but then just the goofiest dialogue, like Double Fine dialogue.
Yeah,
like really, really goofy. A mixture of those.
Cool.
Yeah, but great game, and it's been so long.
And it's on PC, PS4, and Xbox,
now.
So you can get it on any platform.
We were the last holdouts.
Is it on Switch?
Not yet. I'm assuming
it'll probably end up there. Yeah,
and
it seems like a perfect place for it to go.
It is an absolutely perfect game for that because the save points are fair. They're close together, so it's the type of thing that you could play on a bus and then find a save point and then move on. So I highly recommend Undertale if you've never had a chance to play it before, especially if you're a PlayStation owner. And it just came out. It's not expensive either. Like it's only like $20 or something. So do yourself a favor and pick it up. It's like $15-20. But yeah, Undertale's been kind of synced me in a little bit lately, mostly because it puts the smiles on my face.
Just put a smile on. Put a smile on. I'm trying to look up the price of what I've been playing because I don't remember disclosure, the one I've been playing, we got a code for. I've been playing Conan Exiles, which I don't quite know the story of it yet because I've played. As you know how I play games that have crafting. I played like 7 hours and I built a house. I was like, cool. Let me look up here real quick to see what the price is so I can give it to you. So there, Tom.
Just got released on Xbox.
Game preview. It's an early access on Game Preview. Yeah, it's
early access now.
$35.
Previously, I don't know if was it on the PC previously, and it just Okay.
It's been on PC.
So it's been working its way up, so they've had time to work on it. But they just did the Xbox release.
And they did the DLC Frozen North, which is kind of why I want to hop in to get to that point. Not there yet. So, Conan Exiles.
You said like 30 hours till you get there, right, or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if you grind it through it, it wouldn't be nearly as much. The way I play, it's going to be like 70, 80, 90 hours before I get there.
Next year sometime.
So the Conan Exiles, the beginning of it, essentially what happens is you're dumped into this world. You're in a desert. You're exiled for some reason. Again, I don't know the name. I don't know what the reason is. I'm sure I'll find out down the road.
You're a big barbarian with
not
long
necessarily.
Hair.
You can be a female barbarian with no hair.
Oh, so you don't have to play Conan?
No, you can play male, female.
I gotta ask,
different
is this
skin tones.
the Conan? Is it Conan the Barbarian?
I mean, I don't think so.
Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I mean, it looks like him, but you can also be a female. So what's really interesting at the beginning? So you obviously do something because you're on a crucifix, which is how you determine that's where your character select screen, like what you can choose. So a couple of things I found interesting. One, I didn't expect to play male or female. I expected to play the big burly male. Two, skin tones. They have every skin tone you'd probably want, which I found very, very interesting. Just because early access, I expected it to mainly be whitewashed because that's how games are. Or I expected it to be the dirty, sandy looking skin that we've seen here. Hair, a lot of hair different choices. The hair is very stiff, though. You would not like the hair, Tom. It's not the hair physics. Hair physics aren't great. It's there.
1 out of 10,
but not great. It clips through a lot. And the other thing, and the part that I was like, I played first as a male and played through a little bit. Then I reset and played as a female. Played through a little bit.
Do they have different play styles?
No, that's what I was trying to see is if there's anything different. But there is a difference. You can do partial nudity.
Okay.
So if you're a female and you do partial nudity, you see boobies until you cover the boobies up.
Like, what do you mean you can do partial nudity?
That's one of the settings. The servers allow no nudity or partial nudity.
Wow.
So you can see boobs. The problem with seeing boobs is you don't wear a shirt, which means you get hot, which means you also have less armor. So quickly you put a shirt on and it's no problem, and you're running around that way. But I could see people having fun.
Why is it an option? It seems so fucking sexist.
A lot of games do that. No, it's an option for both.
Yeah,
I didn't do partial nudity on the male because I don't know what you'd be partially nude for.
That would be funny if he just was running around with his Johnson hanging.
Yeah.
Like, partial nudity is the opposite. He's got a sweater on.
I didn't look at that, but I was interested to be like, because my thought was they can't do this. Like, it'll be censored some way. Like but nope. And they have boob physics. I jumped and they have boob physics. Like, I tested that part out. Yeah. So that was one thing that caught me off guard. Like, I went in and
that's a little shitty in my opinion, but I mean it is what it is.
You have the choice, and if you create a private server, they have the option of you to rent a server from them, create your own server, or you can play if you play co-op or solo, you're in a server by yourself, or you can play online with others. Which I was having issue doing that because not very many people were playing at the time I was recording, which doesn't surprise me because it's a weekday.
Yeah.
But anyways, past the boob jiggles. So you're dropped into this world and you're in a desert. And I did do a little research before I played to kind of know what I was getting into, and it's a survival. It's like Ark Survival Evolved is the best game I can compare it to that I've played, and it's collect shit. So you collect sticks, you collect rocks, you collect all this stuff, and then you can go in and build stuff. So
it's crafting like solid. There are a lot of it. Or is it pretty simple? I'm going to confess I cheated a little bit. Not in the playthrough you're seeing, but I cheated to see what all was there because I wasn't going to get to the end. And I went to the admin log to see what you could... Because you can... If you're by yourself, you can spawn in anything you want and you can create anything you want. And you can make sure you never go hungry, make sure you never go thirsty. Like, I like that because if you want to do creative mode, you can teleport anywhere you want. So... It was really cool. So what I did at the end of my playthrough, just to kind of test it out, is I just started spawning in the higher end gear stuff. And some of it I can't equip because I wasn't high enough level yet, but you could easily boost up your XP and get it that way. Again, you can do whatever you want with this, which I find interesting and fun to do. So if you wanted to see that end stuff without having to do the effort, or if you just wanted to build a world like I was doing, you can. So what I did is I went through the game, normally ran through. What was really interesting, though, is you're in the desert, and it tells you the story of what's going on, and you're like, I've got to save somebody, go back and avenge somebody. And you come through this desert on this broken road, it's kind of like Journey feeling. And you come out, and you come up over this mountain into a crevasse, as they call it. Nice word
and
usage.
Through the crevasse, it goes from desert to just lush green.
Beautiful.
And that's the world that you start in. And
so it tricks you into thinking you're going to be playing a shitty, miserable looking game. Then it's like, oh, actually, jungle.
Yes. And one of the things, when I first because I didn't see any creatures, because the beginning desert part is kind of just getting you to understand controls. It doesn't tell you the controls, but you can quickly pick them up. Like X is pick up stuff, A is jump, B is crouch. The hardest thing for me to do is in the inventory, and this is true for any PC-based game that goes console, is switching tabs. It's right trigger. They made it real simple. Once I figured out how to do it, I was like, oh, there it is. And then I could just easily jump between inventory to player, so level up, recipes, and crafting.
I mean, that's how a lot of RPGs handle it.
It makes it so much easier. Yeah. I just didn't. I didn't at first. Because you can scroll over, and I was like, this sucks, because you start all the way over here, and crafting's all the way over here. And you're like, get over there.
But
you can't. No.
Really?
You can't go left or right.
That's stupid.
Or right to left. You can't go right to left. It won't let you. I tried. Because it was dumb.
No, I was trying
early
to
access.
If it was left to right or right.
No, it's right to left. So I get into this open world, or into the kind of the world as it is, and there's multiple environments, but it's the only one I got to. The frozen north is frozen north. It's ice.
Change up the environment.
Obviously, you have to have clothing to survive. There is heat. There is cold. There is hunger. There is thirst. It's a survival game. But as soon as I go through into this open field, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool! Like, I'm enjoying this right now. I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but I crafted a hatchet. I've crafted a pickaxe, figured that one out. Like anything else, it has recipes that you have to learn. So certain levels you can unlock things, and then certain things unlock other things. So for the tools, as an example, or for cooking, you can unlock a basic fire. So you can unlock the basic fire, but then as you level up, you can unlock a more advanced fire to cook more things, but you have to know the basic fire to get that.
Right, so there's just skill lines.
Yes,
yeah.
But it wasn't very clear how they had it set up
right.
until you click on it. Then it's like, oh, I need this to do that. Because I went to the bottom, like, can I unlock this? No.
Do you just have to like build more fires, or do you actually need parts to make the advanced fires?
You need parts.
Okay.
Yeah, you need parts to do it. So what I did, I walked in this open field and started wandering around as I do. And first thing I ran into was this little, like, I don't know what to call him. He's just a glob of goo, essentially. He had legs and arms, but he was just like a...
Okay.
He was just like a ghost... He's like the Ghostbusters glob of goo dude.
Slimer?
Kind of.
So he's not really a dinosaur then, per se.
He was leather. He's leather, though. Or he looked leather, like material. But that's kind of what I got from him. He runs up to me, and I was like, what are you? And he goes... Poof, and explodes on me.
Oh, lovely.
And I took I took damage. I was like, well, thanks.
Exploding armadillos.
So now I know to avoid them.
Okay.
And then as I turn the corner, there's another one. There were shell type, like kind of like stegosauruses, but more turtle-like than stegos. Like they had a stego tail, but they're turtles with the shells. Walked up to them. They were passive. They didn't attack me. I then went to continue down, found a nest. I found out I could steal their eggs and eat their eggs. That's the best source of food. Tip here, best source of food is their eggs at the beginning, because you can't kill stuff.
Also gross.
Very easily.
But
I won't tell you what I killed then. I might have killed the babies.
How do you...
Not the eggs.
Babies then at the eggs, or you?
No, there's babies. There's babies and there's eggs there.
Oh,
so some of them had hatched
and murdered the children.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, so that's what I did, because I was like, oh, I was wondering if I could get meat. Which you can't. You have to get them off. Which I like that you can't get meat off the little ones.
How many babies died before you realized you couldn't get meat?
I killed the 3 that were there.
So you didn't kill one and see if there's
no.
meat,
It gave me but it gave me hide, which is like, I'll use that for crafting a bed later on. Like, as somebody who's played these games a lot.
How much hide does a baby bird have?
It wasn't a bird. It was an armadillo-looking thing. I mean, I got 1 hide out of them.
Murderous bastard.
So, anyways, I do that, and I go wandering down the coast further into the level, or into the world, and I hear the attack music going on. I was like, what's attacking me? Like, I didn't see anything. There was no explodey dudes running at me. Like, nothing was coming at me. And there's humans. There's other NPC humans that were there, and they had the little campfire set up. When I saw them, I was like, oh, this is their campsite. I kind of wandered across. And of course, since they're attacking me, I'm going to swing back and kill them. What's really cool with that, though, when you kill them, one, you get human flesh. I've not figured out what to do with the human flesh.
You did.
I didn't try.
Gotta cook it first.
Yeah, that was weird to me. But I got it. But you can.
That was weird, but murdering baby birds and eating their little brothers and sisters in egg form.
Do you eat eggs?
No.
You're weird then. Do you eat eggs? So anyways, I murdered these humans, and I loot their bodies, get a bow and arrow, get other supplies that are harder to find from my experience in the beginning of the world. I then go wandering down, and I get to the water, and I learn how to drink. You know, survival game, you got to figure out how to drink, because I didn't turn all that off. And then I get to the point where I was like, let me try and build a house. Like, let me craft a building, see how much it takes. In Ark Survival Evolved, I crafted many a houses, many a castles. And It's a very intuitive system. I really, really like it. Other than the only control issue I have with it is, say I craft because you need to build a foundation, obviously. Then you can build walls, you can have windows, doors, all that kind of stuff. You know, houses.
How does one make windows in Conan's world?
It's just a wall with a hole in it.
Oh, so it's not like an actual glass.
I'm sure there's windows. Like Ark had it where the wood would slide, like it's a wood window and it would open and close. Gotcha. But I've not gotten to the point where I can make a window yet.
Primordial window.
So we'll see. But no, I was building this up, and I built the foundations, I built the walls, everything I need to build a little house, campfire. And I go to put it down, and it's like, how do I put this down? Because everything else, like when I crafted a pickaxe or I crafted an axe, it immediately went into, they have a radial inventory, or radial menu, you can choose which weapon you have. And I was like, it's not there. How do I do this? And it took me, no joke, probably 15 minutes to figure out how to do that. And what you have to do is you have to go in the inventory, you have to pull up the radial menu, you have to deselect what's in the radial menu. So say I had something that I already used, so the campfire has been put down. It still has an icon for the campfire in case I craft another one, because like, oh, he might want a campfire here. I have to deselect that, go back in the menu, select what I want, put it in the radial menu, then put it down.
That's a little bit long-winded.
It's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
I'm sure there might be a quicker way, but it's the only way I found to do it from my experience. So I built this house. It was a real nice house. I made some fire, cooked some eggshells, or eggs, over easy, in case you're wondering, or scrambled, I don't know.
Sunny side up.
And then when I started getting to the admin menu, I got to the point where, like, again, I was doing higher end stuff, so I just would spawn in foundations and build it bigger. I keep punching the mic. Build it bigger, and I built a house that was probably 16 by 16 squares, so it was big enough to be able to show stuff off.
So this was 8 hours later?
No, I used the admin menu, so this was like 6, maybe
hours.
5. Yeah, this is after I played the 2 characters, though.
Okay.
So this is like, I just wanted to play around. This wasn't recorded.
Like
I just
from
wanted to play.
when you started building a house.
No.
Like 7 hours later, you were done.
No.
Okay. No.
So what happened was I'd spawn all the stuff in, I built the structure of the house, and then as I was going through the admin panel, I noticed that there's a lot of interior stuff, which a lot of games don't have, especially a survival game. It's like you'll have your fires, you'll have your beds, you'll have doors, you'll have that kind of stuff. Well, this had carpets. It had a double bed it had a raised thing. Like,
what would
it had
be a
stairs.
Carpet, like a dead saber-toothed tiger or something?
It was just a green carpet. So I'm assuming it comes from a creature I haven't come across yet, or some sort of plant I haven't come across yet. But I was spawning that in, building
so you're just
that.
making your own little Flintstones.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. And I told James DeGrotto that I could see this being a lot of fun with another person. Like by myself, it's like, this is cool. I probably will play it differently by myself than I did with somebody.
There is open service though, right?
Yes.
So people could like come to your house and like wreck it, burn it, or whatever.
There's both. So
okay.
If you can play a mode solo or co-op is one server where you're in a thing by yourself.
Okay.
You can also play online where you're with randos. So I was playing by myself in a solo/co-op server. So that's why I had admin controls to be able to spawn stuff in.
So if it's a co-op server, that means that you have to invite the secondary person in.
Yep.
So you can't it's not just like friendly fire.
Correct.
Okay.
So if I was online, though, I wouldn't have access to all the admin consoles unless it was my server.
Gotcha.
And the cool thing with it that I found really, really interesting was in the menu process, they had the option to rent servers from them. So as you know, you may not know, but on a PC side, a lot of people like building custom servers to be able to control the environment, or if I don't know, YouTube channels, so they can control who's on the server and who destroys what and all that kind of stuff. The fact that you do that on console, I've not seen any other game do that.
Pretty impressive.
And it makes me excited. I'm interested to see what the prices were. I didn't see pricing anywhere. I don't know if it's paid, I don't know if it's free, don't know how it works. I'm sure it'll come with the full version of the game. Again, early access. But that got me excited because it's like, oh, you could do like a whole series of like get your friends together and craft all this kind of stuff. And
did you actually visit the online?
I tried and I couldn't.
What do you mean?
I couldn't find a game.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that was my issue.
So we still don't know if griefing is going to be an issue in this title, because that's been my consistent fear with these types of games, is that everyone always finds out a way to grief other players. That's why Ark is basically unplayable on PS4.
Yeah, that's why I played on
private.
That's why I played on console.
Yeah, I can understand the private server being okay, but it's almost, it kind of takes away an element of the game when you can't actually play it with randos.
But there's NPC things you're going. So the game essentially that you're supposed to be playing, the people interaction. I think in a perfect world, what would happen would be you'd go up to a settlement, you'd talk, you'd trade, you'd do all this kind of... The real world is just going to kill you. But in the game, you fight monsters, you fight beasts, you fight this kind of stuff. So playing with friends by yourself is not bad. You just would have a home base to go back to. That's what we did in Ark. Is we'd have
the end goal? Base.
I don't know. I've not made it there, and I don't know if it's in the game yet because it's still early access.
Gotcha.
So I've not made it that far into it. The
story's not particularly strong, I assume. If
yeah, as far as I've seen, it basically, like I said, tells you you're exiled. It tells you got to go do this thing, but there's no marker telling you this is the story mission.
Yeah.
It's just here's a world. Figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the end goal is. I know
like with Stranded Deep, the end mission was get saved essentially,
which you couldn't do for the longest time.
Yeah.
So I think now you can because it's been 2 years. But I'm interested to see. I don't know if this thing has a release date yet. But I will say that this is a fun game if you like survival games, especially if you... Ark is, again, the closest thing I'll compare it to, but the fact that you can have that private server I like versus Ark is just, like you said, you're online with everybody. You don't really have a choice. And the controls on this are way better than the controls in Ark. So we have Ark for Xbox. I've played it. Did not like it compared to the PC version. I was like, no, I'm just going to play on PC if I'm going to play. But this game, I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, if I had... James is going to pick it up. He got the trial, so we're going to play together for a little bit, and he probably will pick it up. Had a lot of fun with it. With friends, I think it'd be a lot more fun. I would love to see what the rented servers look like. So, I mean, granted, most of our friends don't have Xbox, but say I find other YouTubers, 4 or 5 other YouTubers, we could have our own server and do our own thing and create role-playing videos or whatever it may be from that. So from my perspective, that's cool. From somebody who doesn't have a lot of friends or doesn't like... Maybe they're one of those people that play every 2 weeks or something. They're not a hardcore player, but they do like the game. That would be the best way to play, so you don't have to worry about people coming in and destroying your stuff or stealing your stuff.
Do you think it's worth $35? As it stands right now.
As of right now, yes. I will ease... And again, I'm a little biased on this because I love crafting games. As you know, like Fallout 4, I spent 20 hours crafting a settlement. Like, that's who I am and that's what I like. So I'm going to preface with that.
If you like crafting.
But if you like crafting survival games, this is right up your alley. It is perfect when it comes to how it handles the crafting, what you need to do, the skill system. The other complaint I have is they don't describe the skills very well yet.
Okay.
Like you have survivability, then you have vitality, you have strength, you have accuracy, and I was like, I kind of understand it, but it's like, what specifically does this affect?
Right,
and
right.
There's not, like, you know how sometimes you'll highlight over a thing, it'll give you a little blurb?
Right, right.
It doesn't tell you.
Gotcha.
So I kind of wish they had that. But I highly recommend this game.
Cool.
Again, it's early access, so I don't know. I would say wait for the final version just because you never know. It may change between now and then, but I don't see it going that far because it's a decent game. The other issue I had, and again, this is probably because I was playing with console commands, was the game would crash on me frequently because I'd spawn in 7,000 stone to build something, or I spawned in maybe a few hundred creatures around my area to see what they look like, and the game was like, nope, and crashed.
Murdered.
So again, early access, so that might be part of it as well, but do keep in mind it did crash on me while recording probably 3 or 4 times, which was kind of frustrating, but again, it's kind of expected.
Tis what it is.
So I also push the game to its limits. As you know, I like to break games.
You do.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Were you there for that, where I tried to jump over the mountain?
No.
Yeah. So immediately, the first time I played the game, I tried to jump over a mountain and...
died.
No. I broke the game. I got stuck. So, got stuck on the mountain on an invisible
really nice
wall.
feature that Elder Scrolls has for that type of stuff. Like,
get me out of here?
Because they know that like people just tend to try and jump over the mountains instead of going around them because it's just easier.
Yeah.
So they made that kind of get me the fuck out of here button, which I thought was good.
So, let's go into the third and final detail.
Sure.
We were talking about, so Conan's on PC.
Conan's on PC.
It's on Xbox.
It is.
Undertale came to PC. It's now on PS4 and Xbox. PlayerUnknown Battleground, PC. Coming to Xbox, not quite there yet. And more games are doing this. Released on PC first, especially indie games, coming to console afterwards. As primarily console players, we're going to discuss our viewpoint, and you guys can discuss it with us, or give us your viewpoint in the comments below, or on Twitter, or wherever you want to reach at Level2Gamers, STL. How do you feel about consoles getting ports of PC games months, sometimes year, maybe 18 months later? Does it affect you at all? Do you hate it? Do you like it? I don't think you like it, but how do you feel about it?
Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I'm not too much of a bitch when it comes to like waiting for games.
You also don't play on PC.
That's true. All. So I don't play on PC at all. So it's not like I'm like just sat there waiting for them to release it. So if a game is on PC and I know it's good, something like
XCOM,
PUBG. Or whatever. Or XCOM 2, for example. So XCOM 2, I knew XCOM was good because I got to finally play it on PlayStation when it came there. And I'm grateful that they made that port because otherwise I would have never experienced that. But then, of course, when it gets like a 5-month head start on PC for the sequel over the PlayStation, that was frustrating because I knew I wanted to play it on PlayStation. I picked it up for Steam. I couldn't really play it that well. I have the Steam Pad, and as we both know, that's an awful...
Steam Pad's a bad controller. You want an Xbox One controller.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was happy that I got to play it. The wait bothered me a little bit, but I think I would be being petty if I said that it was like, oh my god, this is so frustrating. You know, it wasn't like that at all. It was just like, it's nice that we're getting it. It sucks that we have to wait, but that's just how the game is played. And I think that, like, similarly with the exclusives or timed exclusives for the console to console, it's the same type of feeling. I'm just happy that these experiences are actually making their way over to the consoles because, you know, to live in a world where I would have never gotten to have played Undertale or potentially never got to have played PUBG
or Subnautica.
Yeah, or Subnautica or whatever the fuck it is, like that would have pissed me off more.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I'm a little petty about the fact that it takes so long sometimes. I also understand that for the developers it's not an easy task.
Yeah.
Every developer that we talked to in Pixel Pop was like, we were like, what are you going to try and bring it to first? And all of them were like, Steam.
PC.
Yeah, they were like, it's going to Steam, early access, and then we're hoping to do console, PS4, Xbox, whatever it was. And
Switch, I think we had one Switch
there was quite a few Switch guys that were thinking they were going to get it on the Switch.
I don't know how hard that is.
I would say very, judging by the game catalog right now. But, you know, it's one of those things where it almost seems like for them it's just easier because they're designing in Unity, they're designing in Unreal, and that's already PC based. So you test it on the PC. So
you don't have to have a console with you to
and Steam Greenlight is a really easy thing to get through.
Well, Greenlight's dead. You know that, right?
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Steam's like approval system then is really easy to get through because mostly they
killed it because people were abusing the system and
I can see that.
Getting it through. I don't know what they're doing now, but I know it's dead.
But that whole thing is just, it's so easy to enter. And for your player base, there is a really fucking big PC player base. Even if you can get it to swing onto a Mac or Linux as well, like it's still a big base there. So I know that it's harder to deal with companies like Sony than it is with companies like
because it's a closed system.
Yeah, because everything's so proprietary, and they still treat things the way that they were a couple of years ago. So I would say it's a little annoying, but it annoys me about as much as a console timed exclusive, not any more or less. And ultimately, I'm glad that it eventually just does end up on the console system. What about you?
So I have two mindsets on this. The one mindset is the YouTube mindset. The second mindset is the Keegan personal mindset. From the YouTube perspective, I think it sucks because we prefer to play things on consoles just because that's what we're used to. I've challenged you to learn controller and mouse or keyboard and mouse because that's
really tried.
That's gonna be a thing that I'll make you do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a thing that's got to happen because more and more games are gonna come to that first, and you can't rely on me to capture all the footage. We've had some friends like we've had Wreck Beckett give us some footage that will go up soon if it's not up yet, as well as Blue and a couple others.
Nick's working on something.
Nick's got some stuff he's working on.
That wasn't PC, but still he helped us out with stuff. In case you haven't noticed, we have had a little bit of help on our channel lately, and we're very grateful to everyone that's been participating and actually delivering content, because we're at a point now where we're getting so many game keys and so many trailers and stuff.
We're just like, oh, Jesus.
We don't have time to play it all, which is great.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. So we are just outsourcing it to our friends and crediting them.
And people we trust.
And giving them a nod to their channel and saying, this is the guy that recorded this game. Have fun.
So from a content creator standpoint, I wish it came on both, because I'm more proficient on console than I am keyboard and mouse, because I could show off the game better on that because I'm using the controls.
Yeah, we don't like to have shitty gameplay. That's the problem. Like, if we can't control it properly, then it's shitty.
Elosi's Hunt, as an example, we got a PC key for that. I gave that to Blue because Blue plays keyboard and mouse. He's a PC guy. We asked for a PS4 key, ended up getting a PS4 key. That's actually why there's two on there. The PC gameplay, which if you look is way better than my gameplay. He said looking at it though, he thinks the controlling on PC was more accurate than on the controller when it came to shooting. He's like, you look like you had some issues shooting. I was like, well, I don't know if that's me or if that's the game.
Yeah.
Probably both. But that's why there's 2 of those, because we got that. And again, I wanted to record it on PS4.
Show both sides of the coin.
But from a personal perspective, I'm okay with it as long as it's within a reasonable time frame.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I stand on it. So to me, a reasonable time frame is a year or less. If it's over a year, I have a major issue with it. I mean, 6 months or less is the ideal thing. But again, like you said, it's hard to do. So I'll give them a year.
Yeah, I mean, because for a lot of these guys that are making these games, they're indie developers. They're not like AAA studios. You can't just expect them to be able to knock it out quickly. It's something they work very hard to do. And when they do it, sometimes it just takes a while.
I mean, look at PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. They got Microsoft involved because I'm sure they needed help.
Yeah.
And that's why things like No Man's Sky or anybody who partners with a bigger company has advantage. Our friends at Happy Badger, they said with Smugglecraft, one of the reasons they picked PlayStation over Xbox is because PlayStation gave them a lot of support. And that can't be easy to make things for a console. One of the things that Xbox has done recently, and I think I've brought this up before, it's called the Xbox Live Creators Program. And the biggest hurdle to making a game on console is you have to have a dev kit. And dev kits are limited. 500 to 1,000, limited in supply. That kind of stuff. I think that's more why we don't have Switch games, is because dev kits are not there yet.
Yeah, every developer we talked to said they applied for a Switch kit, but they haven't been granted.
I think that's the biggest issue.
A lot of them actually said the same thing about VR, which is interesting.
Not that it's hard, it's just they don't have access to what they need to make it. So what Xbox has done, and I really, really like this to a certain extent, you can now develop and publish on Xbox Live or Windows 10, because they do the crossplay thing, if you have a retail Xbox. So that to me is really cool, because you don't have to wait for the develop kits. You don't have to wait to save the money to get that, to pay the $500 to $1,000 to get these kits. You can use the Xbox you have to make a game, debug it. There's a special you log in, you get special OS, so you can load on it, and obviously get debug mode and developer stuff.
That is good.
The only kind of questions I have it, and I have not looked at it that closely, is there some sort of approval process? Because it's going to get to the shovelware stuff.
Yeah, there has to be an approval process. The question is, how strict is it? Because, the last time when they had the arcade or whatever.
Xbox Live Creators Program allows developers quickly and directly publish their games on Xbox One and Windows 10 with a simplified certification. So there is a certification process, and no concept approval required.
Concept approval? Yes. Specifically.
If your game integrates Xbox Live and follows our standard store policies, you are ready to publish.
So they're almost opening up to the extent of something like the App Store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there is some sort of certification you got to go through, make sure it functions, but there's no concept approval, which is kind of cool. So you can, to me, you'll get a lot more with the weirder games, which I'm a fan of. The only downside to that is I think you might also get a lot more not so high polished games.
Well, we talked about this a little bit before, but they used to obviously do this kind of thing with I forget what it was called, just like arcade or whatever it was. And I'm a big fan of 2 YouTubers called one YouTuber that puts it out called The Switcher, but his show is called Two Best Friends Play. And basically it's just them playing a game, talking, but they happen to be very funny and very good at what they do. And they would actually go to those like arcade thingies and just pick the shittest looking 5 games they could and do a whole episode about it. And those are always the funniest episodes because of how bad the games were. So there's something to be said for content creators for bad games and for that kind of like unpolished stuff that just makes you laugh because of how bad the glitches are and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. I think it's a great sign of Xbox to make this to developers. I'd love to see the same thing from Sony.
And this also adds, this is not the ID at Xbox, which is the big one now. ID at Xbox, they have a little blurb here saying what's the difference. The big difference is ID at Xbox gives you more access to tools, and it gives you marketing money from Microsoft. So I have a feeling that's a little bit more in with Microsoft.
You're in the inner circle.
Yeah, that's you're a second party essentially with Xbox.
Say IP with Xbox.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, as a content creator, I wish we had everything, just because personally I learned I can control stuff better on a console. But I have played PC games. I played Ark on PC, like I said, for 200 hours. I've played City Skylines, which granted that one's a point and click type thing, but I've done I played The Ship. I've played Prop Hunt. Like, I've done all these games on PC, and it takes a second for me to get used to. The hardest thing for me is I always hit caps lock instead of shift to run because of my pinky. But you learn pretty quickly how it works. But
God, I need to do keyboard and mouse so bad because all I ever really want in life right now is to play Counter-Strike after the amount of Counter-Strike that I've been watching. And I just look at their keyboards because they have special Counter-Strike keyboards. I look at them and I'm just like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's too many buttons. I can't. I would be lucky to remember the up, down, left, right.
It's WASD.
I know that. But I'm just saying, like
WASD, shift is sprint, space is jump usually, and then
there's just so much more to it though, like in terms of like, especially with
reload is R.
FPS, that's the trigger happy thing. It's just like, I don't know. I would need to just play it day in and day out for a really long time.
That's what I did back in the day with like Ark. The reason I got good at it was that is the game that got me in be able to play PC games because I would play and it's a slower. I wouldn't start with Counter-Strike because it's a lot quicker. But like Ark is a slow paced game, but you do have those scenes where you're like, I'm being chased by something like a T-Rex. I should probably run away. Like things like that. And as time goes along, it just kind of becomes that second nature, like a controller. Like if
practice makes perfect. I get it.
If I gave you a controller, it'd be the same way. So, but yeah, getting back to the question, I have no issue as long as it's within a reasonable amount of time. Kind of like you, I'm excited to get these experiences. I'm super. I mean, PUBG is a perfect example. Again, it's only coming to Xbox, but I'm excited that it's coming to Xbox.
Better late than never.
Because I would never play that because I'm not a first-person shooter on a PC, and I probably very rarely. There's a very slim chance I will be.
First, it's third, isn't it?
It can be first and third.
Oh, good.
They've got both. They've got two different modes. So what's really cool with them is you cannot do. You have to be in a server that's one or the other. So you can't have first person with third person because there's an advantage.
Gotcha.
Which I like because there's an advantage there because you can't look around.
First person all the way. I couldn't do third person.
Third person is the preferred way because you can look around and see people sneaking up on you.
Yeah.
Versus first person.
I'd rather just be savvy at first person for the immersion.
Yeah, first person's a lot harder.
Yeah.
You'd die a lot. I mean, you die a lot in general.
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
you wouldn't get that winner chicken dinner.
I only play Elder Scrolls games in first person, as you know. I can't.
I play third.
Drives me crazy.
Drives me crazy playing first person.
Only games I can play in third that are like that, like RPGs or whatever, are Dragon Age, and Mass Effect. But there you go.
There you go. So, what do you guys think? Cool. Do you guys care about when a game comes from a PC, what the time frame is?
Would you rather get it? Is it better late than never?
Or just not get it all and just say, hey, I'm not getting this game.
Yeah.
Again, this is Indie Please Add Details. We are your weekly podcast for indie games, indie news, and excursions we have going on. Followed up at the end, like we just did, with a topic where we talk about a thing that we're like, hey, you should talk about this. You can follow us on Twitter at Love2GamersSTL. Tweet us up there if you guys have any questions or if you want to respond to that, to what
anything,
you think.
Really, I mean, the question is a good one to respond to. But if you have thoughts on like PUBG coming as an Xbox exclusive, if you're a
that's
PlayStation
a hot topic
owner,
right now.
Any of that stuff, we want to hear it all. So reach out to us and let us know how you feel about these topics.
Or you can follow us.
Or if you have an indie game that you want us to cover, we're open for that as well. Tom at Level 2 Gamers, Keegan at Level 2 Gamers,
at Level2Gamers.com,
or just devs.
I've done that
Level
one.
2 Gamers
made that one
as well.
Or you can follow us on YouTube at Level2Gamers.com. You can obviously put in the comments if you're listening to us. Thank you so much. You can find our podcast on any podcast service, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever.
Just called Level 2 Podcast.
Yeah, Level 2 Podcast. If you're listening to us and you want to see our lovely faces or see what we look like and be terrified, go to Level2Gamers.com. There will be every podcast up there along with all the trailers and bonus footage that you can get there as well. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. We are going to do a special podcast on Friday about it with one of our topics, but thank you guys so much for supporting us. This is obviously the newest show we've got going on, but it had a pretty decent response for episode 1. And tomorrow we've got another codename Morpheus. I think it's episode, I don't know. I have to look up a number.
I lost count at this point.
But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. And as always, welcome to the second level. Bye.
It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.